It seems like this is working very good. So I'm going to stream this over to my Facebook page and the other, and I'm just going to do a standby. So give me a second. Do that. And we're going to go to Facebook and to YouTube. So I'm streaming, got a good, healthy, excellent stream on both sites. Yep, so we are good. All right. And I'll have the live symbol going too. All right. Welcome, everybody. And we are live right now on YouTube. I got Mr. Joe Andre from the Stilltube Institute with me. And Joe is going to tell us a little bit about why and his program for the Western section. He's covering basic transformer installation requirements, September 23rd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And you know what, Joe? I've learned it's not Eastern Standard Time, it's Eastern Daylight Time. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know that, but it's still 7 o'clock to me.
That's right. Yeah. So we just saw it. Your audience.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's it's the least I could do because I know you would do less for me, right?
Yeah, well, I know. It's the least you could do, and you always do the least you can do. I get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how did you get the short straw for basic transformer installation requirements? I mean,
I've been doing a transformer program, and when we say basic transformer requirements, what I want to narrow that down even more because we could talk all day.
Yeah.
You know, my focus is really on a very small portion of Article 450.3 for overcurrent protection of the transformer, and we'll talk about that in various different modes that you can deal with, both over 1,000 volts and under 1,000 volts. But then I think the big thing that I've seen a lot of people miss, and I know I've missed when I was an inspector and our plans examiner was confused on some of this, trying to coordinate the overcurrent protection for the transformer with the overcurrent protection requirements for the conductors, both primary and secondary, that are found in 24021. There's a huge coordination issue there that you have to look at both in order to be code compliant. None of it's rocket science, but if you miss one or the other, you're going to get in big trouble.
Yeah. And that, it's always, so another thing that's always confused me, and I don't know if you're going to touch this, but you know how we have in table 450.3a talks about over 1,000 volts. Yep. And then B talks about, less than or 1,000 volts and less. So if I had a transformer, 4160 on the primary, 480 volts on the secondary, I cover both these sides of these tables. It depends on what side I look at. Do I follow A for the primary and B for the secondary, or
That's a great question, and it is confusing because it's not really clear. But I think if you really delve into it, if either side of that transformer is over 1,000 volts, use table A, because when it goes to the secondary side, you're going to see that there's two columns, one for secondary over 1,000 volts, one for secondary under 1,000. So I think once you've got any voltage over 1,000 volts, you're going to stay in column A to deal with the overcurrent protection.
Gotcha. So, so transformers, are they common? I mean, we rarely see transformers, don't we?
Yeah, it's pretty rare. Without transformers, we'd have a very different infrastructure, wouldn't we?
We sure would.
And honestly, the tables do cover smaller transformers. They cover transformers for controls and things like that. And I'll touch on that, but mostly what we're going to do is talk about the power transformers. The common ones that we see in a building, most commercial buildings, if you're fed at 480 volts, you got to drop down to provide 120 for your receptacles, maybe 208 for some of the equipment and things like that. So that's where we're going to really focus.
Excellent.
And honestly, we'll cover the time frame just on that very small, very specific piece of the requirements.
Yeah, I know. And 450 is not that big of an article, relatively speaking, to things like 250, et cetera, but Article 250 and whatnot. But It is going to be an interesting discussion. I think it should be fun to hear your presentation. I know Transformers have always and Transformers secondary conductors, as opposed to, I've had a lot of people say, are they feeders? Are they,
Yeah,
what are those conductors
yeah.
and proper
And
sizing?
we'll try to answer that question and a few others. But when you talk about transformers, you can't not talk about 24021, because a transformer, at least in my experience, and maybe there's others, they don't do a whole lot of good if you don't have conductors feeding them and feeding out of them. A transformer sitting there all by itself,
That's right.
pretty simple stuff. So when you tie it into your
Yeah.
premises wiring system, that you start the interplay from all that 24021, and also a couple other places. We'll look at 408 very briefly. There's not a whole lot there, but protection of the panel board or distribution center, as the case may be, depending on where you're landing the secondary conductors. And
Yeah.
we'll cover the whole thing from primary to secondary with the transformer in between, and hopefully make it all tie together and make it all make sense.
Perfect. So where are you out of?
Right now, I'm in Bothell, Washington, a suburb of Seattle. I'm about 20 miles north of Seattle.
Awesome. So you're getting up early in the morning on September 23rd for this event.
I may not go to bed, but I'll be there.
Why don't you give a little overview of your background? I know we have a bio associated with this, but I've known you for quite some time. I remember you were the NEMA field rep at one point, and I know you've got an interesting history and and a good background. So,
Well, I've probably touched most aspects of the industry other than engineering. Yeah, I started out as an apprentice in upstate New York, trainee, came to Seattle area, and continued with that. I even put myself through school as an electrician, doing work part-time as I could come up with it, as people would put me on. So I do have a degree in management from the University of Oregon, go Ducks. And yeah, got to throw that in once in a while. And yeah, I have worked for a number of contractors. I was self-employed as a contractor for a little while. NEMA came along, and I don't know, they must not have had a good good pool of candidates, because I got selected for the Western Field Rep, and I worked for NEMA covering 11 states in the northwestern and southwestern sections of IAEI for 12 years, from 2000 to 2012. Before that, I've also got about 12 years as an AHJ, working for the state of Washington as an inspector, city of Bellevue as an inspector, plans examiner, and supervisor. And when I got to supervisor, it started to include other codes, which drove me crazy, especially the plumbers. And after that, about 2012, a little bit earlier than planned, but some life things happened, and I retired from NEMA, got bored in about 6 months, and started putting out some feelers. And this organization that I work for now, one of my heroes and mentors, Richard Lloyd, was in his late 70s and decided to start cutting back on his activities. Yeah. And they put me on, and I've been with the Steel Tube Institute ever since, from about late 2002, early 2013, wow, representing them around the country.
Yeah, I remember when you were a NEMA field rep, we used to talk about code adoption battles and things of that nature,
you bet.
And
all the fun stuff.
Absolutely, those were good days, though. Those were good days. So, well, we're going to have a good time on September 23rd. I know about 5:30 they're going to start. I know we have. So I was just looking on Facebook. We got Brian Rock saying hello, and hey, at 5:30 they have the Massachusetts, I think it is. Greg Steinman and Jack Lyons are doing the IEI Massachusetts webinar, so that ought to be the Western Mass webinar. Right. So they're going to do an event.
And I think that's on conduit fittings. I'm going to try and insert myself into that one.
There we go. Yeah, and then Ryan Jackson's out on Facebook as well, and then on YouTube we've got. I know Mike Forrester was watching. Steve Froming says. It says 4 watching, but 2 are me. So we don't. I didn't advertise this. So my goal on this event, this type of a video, Joe, is just to create a tickler. This is going to be on our YouTube site. I just want to remind everybody, down below in this YouTube, or I'm not sure where it would be on Facebook, but there are links to registration. So if you want to watch Joe's program from 10 to 12, September 23rd, I've got 2 links. One is you can register for that event only, and the other is you can register for the entire Western Section week. We've got some good, especially if you're an IEI member, there's a discount for IEI members. If you have questions about that, let myself know. Anybody on the Western Section board, you can check that out. I'll put a link to our board, our site as well down below. So you got to remember that the Western Section is digital this year. Hopefully it won't be digital next year. We'll be in person, but this COVID thing changed the way we do business and the way we communicate with people. So I really appreciate, I know for one, I learned a lot from you, Joe. I've got some good pictures of you presenting and all that good stuff. And you never know, I might just put a few in there. I wouldn't do that, but
Yeah,
I don't want to get
careful.
you sweating. Yeah, I'll wait till after you presented to share those pictures. So,
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to get some activity out here. I've been going crazy sitting at home like most of us, and yeah, this is a great venue, and I appreciate the effort that you've made to put this on and give me an opportunity.
awesome. And we appreciate you and your knowledge. So, and that's pretty much all I had. So I think we've got good audio, Joe. We've got good video from you. You've seen how this is going, and I think that's all we need to do. I've got the links down below. Remember to subscribe to the Western Section YouTube site, please, and hit the bell. You'll be notified because I'm going to sit with each presenter, and we're going to just have a brief discussion on their technical topic that they're going to cover during the Western Section. So you'll want to stay tuned to this live YouTube channel and check it out. If you've missed them, they're going to be posted on YouTube. All right. With that, Joe, I'm going to shut down the feed. And tell everybody out there in YouTube land and in Facebook land, thanks for stopping by. Stay safe and be healthy. So let me stop this stream.